hadn't been to Minnesota in probably 20 years.
Bring gas. Welcome to Flagrant Howls, a Minnesota Timberwolves lifestyle podcast.
This State of the Wolves episode here, in which the Timberwolves have won 8 consecutive games for the first time in over 20 years. We should revisit that and do a little box score hunting. Is presented in part by MyBookie, Judd. MyBookie.
That's right. The brackets are out. March Madness is back. It's a great time of year. And MyBookie is putting, get this, folks, $100,000 on the line. Think that you can build that perfect bracket? Take your shot at MyBookie's $100,000 bracket contest and prove it. Bracket gets busted? That's okay. MyBookie's deposit bonus makes sure you're covered for the entire tournament. Single game matchups. That is where the real cash is made. Bet every game, scope out player props. Find your edge as you watch all of the games this coming weekend. Sign up now with promo code Flagrant Howls and claim your deposit bonus to make the most of March Madness, a glorious time of year. Just go to mybookie.website/Flagrant Howls. Bet on every game, anytime, from anywhere, only with MyBookie. Again, that's mybookie.website/Flagrant Howls to make the most of the tournament.
You know who's probably kind of crushing today? It is a great place to be is Kieran's on this St. Patty's Day. Dex?
That's right. Yeah, it's a great Irish spot. Great spot for a pint. Great spot for some game day specials. Pregame or postgame. Obviously, St. Patrick's Day on one of the holiest days of the year for our friends at Kieran's. But whether you're looking for a bite to eat, pre or post game, it's just steps away from the Target Center, also close to Target Field. We're getting closer to opening day for the Twins, so plenty of great options if you're a Minnesota sports fan. But go check out Kieran's, which is just steps away from the Target Center.
All right, boys, time for our State of the Wolves episode. We'll go through our favorite things, our least favorite things, maybe a stat of the week or two. But Dex, give us the overview on where things stand in some key categories for our Timber Pups here.
Yes, so the Timberwolves, 40-29 on the season. They've won 8 games in a row. On the season as a whole, they are now up to 7th in the Western Conference. They're 7th in the Western Conference right now still. They're tied with Golden State at 16.5 games back. But on the offensive and defensive rating, so as a season as a whole, they are 9th in offensive rating, 6th in defensive rating. But during this winning streak, the Timberwolves are 2nd in offensive rating, 3rd in defensive rating, 1st in net total rating. So during this 8-game winning streak, they're probably the most efficient team in the NBA. As we mentioned in those standings, I mean, you win 8 games in a row. The only problem, the Warriors have won 7 games in a row.
Dude,
hard
the
to
Warriors
climb
are
the standings.
14-1 with Jimmy Butler, or 15-1. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, when we did this last week, they were still 7th in the play-in. They've won 4 games since then, and they're still 7th in the Western Conference in a play-in situation. So if the season ended today, they would have to play the Clippers in a play-in situation. One weird note, though, here on State of the Wolves, even though they've won 8 games in a row, their chances to win the Larry O'Brien Trophy have gone down. They are now 0.1% on ESPN.com, 0.3% on Basketball Reference. They have both gone by 0.5%. I don't understand how that works, that you win more games.
So 0.1% chance to win it all and 0.3%?
Yeah.
So you're telling me if we simulated this NBA season, I'm trying to do math, because 1% would be if you simulated it 100 times, it would they would win 1 time.
Yep.
Correct my Buffalo High School Golden Gopher math here, but wouldn't 0.1 be a 1 in 1,000 chance then? So you're telling me if they simulated the season 1,000 times from this point forward, that the Wolves don't win a title once, twice?
And a week ago, it was 0.8 on both sites. So when we did this a week ago, it was 0.8. Now it's 0.1.
We're getting punished for playing the bad part of the schedule.
Western Conference is tough. Exactly right.
Guess. Yeah.
Yep.
It is funny though, they're playing bad teams. Okay, everyone in the Western Conference plays the same schedule. And it just so happened, by the way, that some of the teams that are higher up in the standings played all these bad teams. They played the Pelicans. Some of these teams caught the Pelicans without Zion. Like the Wolves are going to have to play the Pelicans with a full allotment of Zion and CJ McCollum, and they get the Pacers tonight. So you should not have to apologize for playing bad teams on your schedule. The Rockets, the Nuggets, they got to play the Jazz too.
That's what the computer says, okay?
Sorry.
That's what the computer says. The computer says there's no chance.
Right. a fighting Irishman today.
No
Good
chance.
Lord.
No chance for the Wolves. No chance.
Vibe check. What is our vibe check for the Wolves? Judd, you want to start us off?
Sure, well, I'm going to actually steal a word that I found in my Star Tribune in the game story from Chris Finch today, and that is the vibe. The vibe check for the Wolves is professional. Chris Finch said, and he's exactly right, last night was very professional.
Yeah.
They got off to a big lead. Ant had a monster first quarter. The second quarter went a little bit sideways. Okay, that's fine. What's your response? Third quarter, just absolutely stepped on the Jazz's throat on a back-to-back because they play the Pacers tonight. At home, they were able to rest guys. And that's the thing about this run. So we can pick apart if you want, well, who are they playing? Who aren't they playing? But to me, two things. One is the Timberwolves lost to a lot of bad teams throughout the course of the season until now. Now they've won 8 consecutive games, most of them against teams that they should beat. But they didn't beat those teams previously. They are now. That's important. The other thing is, if you look at this and how it's trending, what is happening? Ant is showing up against bad teams. That's a check mark because that was a major problem for a long time. You know, oh my God, if we are playing the Lakers, I am all in. Well, now you're playing the Jazz, Ant. I don't really care. Well, guess what? He cares now. So I would describe the vibes in beating these teams as extremely professional. Jaden McDaniels, professional right now, just going great guns. But what is he doing? He's bringing it every single night. Mm-hmm. This team is now playing exactly like you would hope a really organized, good team would play.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off optimistic Judd there, and I will continue to bang the table in the same way I have for 2 weeks. When I first started saying this, everyone laughed. 50 wins. Well, that's a hot take.
You sort of chuckled yourself at the time. You're like, it's probably not going to happen, but now you're right.
I chuckle because it's like the absurdity of suggesting that they would go 16-3 over their last 19 games when they've been up and down the whole year. It's like, sure. Okay, I understand that you guys, the audience, think this is going to sound ridiculous, but sure. If you look at some of the things that are underlying here and the talent that's coming back to the starting lineup, they literally haven't lost a game since I made that prediction 2 weeks ago on Hottest Wolves Takes. And now, so they're sitting here now. So the vibes are, the vibe check is Wolves vibes are that of a 50-win team. And they're sitting here at 40-29. They'd have to go not 16-3, 10-3 now over their last 13 games to get to 50. Well, let's look at the schedule. Pacers in town tonight. It's a back-to-back. Pacers have a night of rest. The Pacers were probably watching that game in their hotel rooms last night down the street from Target Center. Mm-hmm. You got the Pacers, Pelicans, and then Pelicans again, and then at Indiana on Monday night next week. I do think they're going to drop one of these next 4 games. I mean, they could drop more, but I'm saying on the path to 50 wins.
Sure.
I'll give you a loss in the next 4 games. You can lose 3 games and still win 50. And then you've got a Phoenix, Detroit, Denver stretch. Detroit's been playing their ass off the last 2 months. Detroit the last 2 months is one of the top 5 net rating teams in the NBA. Mm-hmm. You've owned Denver, but could they finally flare up and show some pride and a counterpunch? So let's give you at least another loss over those 3 games. Mm-hmm. And then you finish your season Brooklyn, Philadelphia, Milwaukee, Memphis, Brooklyn, Utah. Do you lose a game at Milwaukee or Memphis? Now they could lose like 5 of these games, but there is still a legitimate path to 50 wins here. It's much more realistic than the hottest take from 2 weeks ago. And Declan gave us some of the full season in the overview, like the full season plus minus net rating and those types of things. Over the last 2 months, so you throw out the first part of the season where they're trying to figure out the new roster, everything, depth. Over the last 2 months, as the Wolves have gotten much deeper and much healthier recently, they've gone from one of the worst turnover teams in the NBA through the first 2 months of the season to the 4th best turnover rate in the league the last 2 months. That's been a huge... Last night, it's Utah, and they're terrible. Utah had 22 turnovers. The Wolves had single digits. The Wolves were I think the Wolves were averaging like 16 or 17 turnovers a game in the first couple months of the year. They have drastically reined that in. That's a huge underlying factor for why they've been better offensively. Yes. And over the last 2 months, the Wolves have the 6th best offensive net rating and the 6th best defensive net rating. putting them in the top 5 of total net rating teams.
And 8 games is enough of a sample size that I would argue it's a body of work thing now too. Like, yes, the Jazz suck, okay? But the Magic, who, if I'm not mistaken, beat Cleveland last night, came here, had an 11-point lead, I believe, going into the fourth quarter on Friday. The Wolves come storming back. So, like, there's enough things that 2 months ago the Wolves did not do that they are doing now, that I think that it's safe to say there has been a trending to, or a turnaround to, where you want this team to be. So, yeah, the Jazz are terrible. And if it was just the Jazz game, I'd be like, yeah, let's wait and see. Yeah. But now it's 8 games, and you're doing a lot of things that, quite frankly, 2 months back, you just were either incapable or didn't do.
Yep. So. And it's kind of crazy, though, even though they've been unable to budge from that 7 seed, because the Warriors keep winning, and there was 4-5 teams above them that looked to be maybe uncatchable for a while. Even though they're still sitting in the 7 seed, everyone up to the 2 seed has become very catchable now over this 8-game win streak.
Yeah.
They are only 3.5 games out of the 2 seed Rockets, who are tied also with the Nuggets and the Grizzlies right now. And those teams all play harder schedules than the Wolves do. You got to keep winning the games that you're supposed to win.
Yes.
But if they keep plowing away, they could literally, like a NASCAR race, they could draft on the Warriors all the way up to like the 4 seed or the 3. I don't know that they're going to pass all these teams to get to the 2 seed, but they could pass 2 or 3 of them and be maybe hosting a playoff series in the first round.
I think if teams remain status quo, so like let's just say that the Rockets do, Golden State obviously now does not lose, I think there's a very good chance that Golden State and the Wolves pass the Lakers.
Yeah.
LeBron's out.
Agreed.
He so starting with the game against Boston, when he hurt the groin or began to, like, I think he left that game in progress. They lost 4 consecutive. They won last night, but it was the Suns. I think that the Warriors and the Wolves pass the Lakers, and I think the Lakers, if LeBron does not come back, are playing 1.
Yeah, it's all dependent. I feel like, is this a 2-week thing for LeBron? Does it linger?
Groin, you're not going to screw with it. Like, I think you could. I think that you could make a case that you would prefer to be in the play-in than chance it.
They got a bunch of back-to-backs too on their schedule.
I think there's a good chance that, and look, I don't think that doesn't make the Lakers potentially dangerous in the playoffs. I just think from a seedings standpoint, that's a reality that could happen.
Yeah. You got Dex, do you want to do favorite current Wolves thing? Lead us off, or do you have a vibe check too?
Yeah, quick vibes will just be, vibes are perfect. Like, what more can you ask for when you win 8 games in a row and your season is now kind of clicking to where it should be? So the vibes are perfect. Favorite Wolves thing? Jaden McDaniels is having a hell of a run here over the last 2 months, but I actually want to bring up another Nickeil Alexander Walker stat, which might be my leading candidate in terms of favorite things I have brought to the table throughout State of the Wolves. I saw Dane point this out, and also watching some games at Target Center this year, you see this a lot too. So Nickeil Alexander Walker shot 52% at the rim in his first 3 years of his career. Now, he's a great shooter, but when he also drives to the rim, he's incredibly effective. This season, Na is shooting 63% at the rim. So not only can this guy, catch and shoot and make some big three-pointers, gives you a ton of energy off the bench. You look at some of the distances just on his basketball reference page of what he's able to do close to the rim, and he just continues to get better. And it's, he can go to the rim and attack and get fouls and get all that, and also hit some three-pointers. But his offense is more than just a catch and shooter. This guy can drive and he can attack. It's just another great arsenal. He's probably one of my favorite guys to watch come off the bench because he always just gives you quality minutes.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, it's just every night, man. He's just bringing so many different things. He's the ultimate Swiss Army knife player for this team. And it's going to be tough because there's so many different iterations of what could happen this summer. But one guaranteed thing is that he's going to go get $8, $10, $12 million, if not from the Wolves, from somebody, to be a key rotational piece.
Yeah.
Judd, what is your favorite current Wolves thing?
So I've got 4 things here. Like there's just a plethora. There's a plethora,
3, yeah.
a smorgasbord. I'm going to go back to this one, though, because I think it gets talked about now, but it probably does not get talked about enough. And it showed up again last night, and it's just marvelous to watch. Jaylen Clark's work ethic, his defense. Every time he checks in, he sets a tone. And it's not a sexy tone. The man rarely, I don't see him smile. But
he
you know
smiles. Jaylen Clark smiles.
He smiles, but he doesn't smile a lot on the floor. There's a certain engaged snarl that I absolutely love. But I mean, last night again, the inbounds play. He steals the ball, draws a foul. He is a nuisance. He is everywhere. And the thing I love about that is he might not talk a ton because he's young, but when you work that hard, your teammates have no real option but to follow that. Because are you really going to slough off? Like, as we discussed a week ago, Jaylen Clark makes a 3-point basket and looks miserable. Why? Because he had failed on his defensive assignment. Okay. He made some play last night that he didn't contest the ball. And Jim Pete's like, really, I'm amazed he didn't do that. It's not because it was surprising because he was lazy. It was surprising because he always does it. So this is such a find. Like, you have a guy, and I'll continue to say this, what he does works in the playoffs. Like, this is not a shooting thing where you're concerned if he gets in the playoffs, he might struggle. His style doesn't struggle because defense doesn't struggle when it's played like this.
Chris Finch was asked about him after the game, I believe, by our guy Dame Moore. And Chris Finch said, I trust him implicitly. I trust him offensively as much as I trust him defensively. That's just as important right now. Finch is not reticent to say things like that about young players very often. He's much more Tom Thibodeau like in his curmudgeonly treatment or discussion about young players.
Right.
And to say that I trust Jaylen Clark implicitly is pretty incredible high praise from Chris Finch.
Yes.
So, yeah, that was definitely on my list. I think maybe we can just make a couple trips here on the current favorite Wolves thing. I'll do the Jaden McDaniels thing. Jaden McDaniels had a double-double in the first half last night. And a hat tip to Wolves lead on Twitter, T-Wolves lead for this great nugget. So he winds up with 20 and 12, 20 points, 12 rebounds. That was his 6th 20 and 10 game of his career, which might not sound that impressive until I tell you all 6 have come since February 1st.
Yep.
6 20 and 10 games since February 1st. So, okay, let's track mark Jaden McDaniels since February 1st. 18 points a game, 8 rebounds a game, 3 assists, 52% from the field, elite defense and energy, turnovers and fouls are way down. He has become this diet Kawhi Leonard that we have kind of tongue-in-cheek talked about on this show for 2 or 3 years now. Mm-hmm. This is it. Mm-hmm. This is it. He's working the mid-range paint game. He can defend pretty much all 5 positions within reason, unless there's somebody that's, way too big to defend in the post. But this is who you thought was going to emerge, maybe even quicker, like 2 years ago. And the fact that he's doing it with Julius Randle on the court, with Rudy Gobert on the court, these other bigger presences, and Anthony Edwards, the first play last night, here we go, out of the gate, we got Utah, and Chris Finch runs an action for Jaden McDaniels, a little pick and roll, top of the key. Now, he missed a floater in the paint, but the fact that Finch is now, instead of just stashing him in the corner for 35 minutes a night, and hey, if you get some offense, awesome, he's running the opening play for him. Just let's get him involved. Let's get him in the paint. And there was a play last night. Ball swings to him in the left corner. And usually he would just pull the trigger on a 3. And his 3-point shooting's been better in the last 2 months. He's like kind of league average-ish.
Yep.
But he pump fakes it. He drives baseline, throws down a hammer dunk. Like, that is the Jaden McDaniels that we've seen much more often the last 3 months. So I don't think it's a fluke either, man. Like, if it was him just shooting red hot from 3-point land, I'd say, that might come back to earth. No, it's him getting to the place. It's them running actions for him. It's him being more aggressive. In some cases, it's him playing off the ball more on defense, which preserves energy and allows him to hunt for rebounds. But they haven't really leveraged his size that much on offense or on the glass the first few years of his career. Now you're getting like this 6'10", springy, wiry player into the paint, in close mid-range, and on the boards. And it's like you added a different player 2.5 months ago.
It feels like when they involve him offensively, his play immediately improves. And I don't mean standing in the corner shooting 3-pointers. I mean involve him aggressively. His play, if he's engaged, especially on offense, because I think that then translates to help his defense, he is a different player. And if he sort of, I mean, this might not be right, but it feels like from an observational point, if they don't involve him offensively or just say, go stand in the corner and occasionally shoot threes, he starts to pout. But when he's involved, he's a monster.
He's literally gone from, wow, can't believe they're paying him $25 million like 4 months ago.
Yep.
To if he were to hit the open market right now, this version of him the last 3 months or so, that $25 million a year is a discount on the, because Naz Reid's probably going to get more than $25 million when he hits the open market. Let's do a couple more favorite Wolves things here. Let's do a couple more.
Dex, you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go. The fact that Julius Randle, we just talked about there, but 11-0. It's nuts. I mean, he was out of the lineup. The Timberwolves were able to figure out some things without him, which was huge and key for them. But his insertion into here is just as important. And the fact that even though he lost some time and guys also missed some injuries this year, and you got to shuffle your entire starting lineup in rotation, he comes back in, and this team is just as efficient, if not more efficient now, since he's been back in the lineup. So the fact Julius has been able to miss time, wasn't a huge issue. There's going to be games that will still probably drive you crazy down the stretch a few times from Julius Randle. But without him, I mean, the Wolves aren't sitting in this position where they are the hottest team in the NBA, which I think a couple months ago or in the first few months of the Julius Randle experience with the Timberwolves, I don't think we could have proclaimed that. And now all of a sudden, I mean, this is literally one of the most efficient teams in the NBA over the last 2 months.
I think they also won their last 2 games with him before the injury, which makes it 13. If you go to the 2 games before, it's 13 consecutive wins when he's in the lineup.
Yep. 18.8 points, 6.8 boards, 5.3 assists.
Over that stretch?
Yes.
So it's even a little bit of a reduction in usage, and he seems totally fine with it.
He doesn't need to score as much.
Yeah.
But that's important because, again, at the start of the year, it felt like Julius, and I guess at the time it's not a shock, but he had to have the ball and try and score. Ant tried to score. Therefore, a guy like Jaden sort of got left out. Mm-hmm. Can't leave him out.
Yeah.
My next one is I went on Friday, and I just want to talk about the Energizer Bunny, the rim protector, that is Dante DiVincenzo. That game on Friday and the second half, but his overall game was just absolutely fantastic. Absolutely a clinic. And it's not just his shooting, it's also the fact that he provides, in a way like Clark, not defensively as much, but he provides a huge spark. And on Friday, he provided that. And I think one of the most important things too is, and this definitely helps Ant. Ant's been great, but it's not all on Ant now. Like, it's not all on his shoulders. And DiVincenzo continues game after game. And he didn't, I think he had 6 or 7 assists in the first half last night. He didn't score a point, but he scored 11 points in the second half against the Jazz. And DiVincenzo, if you watch him now, continues to prove that cat trade is going to work out just fine. Going to work out just fine. I love what that guy brings. And meanwhile, I don't want to, it's a Wolves show, but things aren't going great for the Knicks right now.
Yeah, there's some, again, they can talk about this on the Knicks shows, but the
turmoil.
fact that they played the Warriors and Draymond said all that stuff, and then the Warriors win, and a bunch of Cat's teammates are dapping up Draymond after the game, and that's a big talker on Knicks shows right now.
Cat stormed off too, but I don't want to talk about it.
So, I mean, I'll go back to the question from last week right now. If you were given the opportunity, hey, right now, from this point forward, the rest of the season into the offseason, would you trade, if you're the Wolves, would you trade Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, and that Pistons first-round pick off of the team right now for Karl Anthony Towns?
Not after no, now too, because you went through the bad part to get to this.
I just want to check because a lot of people were really loud 4 months ago, calling for Tim Connolly's head, calling him an idiot, just like 3 years ago. Yeah. It's kind of crazy that the Wolves have made the two worst trades in NBA history and went to the Western Conference Finals. And by the way, might go back to the Western Conference Finals. We'll see what happens in the next 2 months.
The Dante contract, I just keep coming back to it. It's such a great contract.
$10 million a year. It's wild. Fire his agent. I don't know what happened there. Yeah. I'll give you one more here too. So last night, Anthony Edwards became the Timberwolves' third leading scorer of all time. Just behind now Kevin Garnett and Karl Anthony Towns. Anthony Edwards, third leading scorer of all time. Can you guys name the other guys on this list? He passed Andrew Wiggins, so we'll give you that.
Passed your guy, Wiggy.
Mm-hmm. Passed Wiggins, Kevin Love.
Love is sixth.
Okay.
I feel like we may have done this before, but
yeah, I think we have. Big Al.
No.
Jefferson.
I'm trying to think of the early guys that might have, but I don't think that they were here for a long enough time period to affect this list.
We're looking for number 5, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
Wally.
There you go. Yeah. Wally is 7th.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's incredible.
Guy we're missing.
That is absolutely.
Ricky didn't score enough points.
No, he did not. Points. Yeah, I thought of him too, but he did not score enough points. Another guards. Was Terrell Brandon here long enough?
It's a good guess. Does not crack this list though. I mean, he was here for like 3 years.
Yeah.
I think he might have been here longer than Marbury, who's also not on this list.
Okay, yeah, because Spree and Cassell didn't.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's a time thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, who is
it? You done? You're done.
Yeah, done.
Sports Dad's done.
I'll tap
okay.
out. Yeah.
Sam Mitchell, number 5.
Oh, because he was here twice.
Doug West, number 8.
Yeah.
Tony Campbell, 9. And
I was going to guess Tony Campbell.
Christian Laettner, 10.
Damn it! I was going to guess Tony Campbell, and I didn't think he was here long enough.
I feel like Jaden's going to be, just for longevity. Let's put this up here.
Should have guessed Tony Campbell. I love Tony Campbell.
Who's close on this list? At some point, can we see a top? I don't think I can see a top 50. I'll look at this another time and we can see it. Like, there's got to be some guys here. Jaden McDaniels and Naz Reid have to be closing in at some point.
Because Naz hits a lot of threes as well. You're right.
Yep. Okay, we'll do our least favorite current Wolves thing and then a stat of the week here in a moment. But hey, I got stuff to fill out here for a fun basketball week. My bookie. Maybe I have to add my bookie to the list.
Mm-hmm. And guess what? Because the tournament is back, March Madness is back, my bookie putting $100,000 on the line. So you know what? Like Phil, you're like, I can build a perfect bracket. Why not take a shot at my bookie's $100,000 bracket contest to prove exactly that? Now your bracket's busted. You're like, oh, the tournament's done. This is no fun. How about my bookie's deposit bonus, making sure you're covered for the entire tournament? Single game matchups are where you can make some real dough and bet every game, scope out player props. That's fantastic. This all sounds like great fun, right? You're saying, Sports Dad, this sounds great. Where can I sign up? Sign up with promo code Flagrant Howls. Claim your deposit bonus to make the most of the tournament, March Madness. Just go to mybookie.website/Flagrant Howls. That's mybookie.website/Flagrant Howls and start playing. The action actually starts on Tuesday with the playing games, and then the fun stuff starts on Thursday.
Yep. Also, Flagrant Howls is hooking you guys up with $15 tickets to select March Timberwolves games. I was in the arena last night for the game with a buddy. Awesome vibes right now inside Target Center. Anthony Edwards dropping 40 and 3/4. DiVincenzo launching threes. Just visit timberwolves.com/March and use the code SKOR ! That's SCORE ! And get your $15 Wolves tickets. Tickets will be sent within 48 hours of the game date purchased. Only available online. Offer valid while supplies last. Restrictions apply. Tickets not eligible for resale. That's timberwolves.com/March and use the code SKOR exclamation point. Okay, least favorite current Wolves thing, Judd.
You know what? I'm going to go off the floor, and I'm going to tell you it's the fact that, unfortunately, because he's so good, I do not think that we are going to be graced by the presence of Michael Grady long-term here. He didn't work the game again last night, and if you flip to ESPN after the game to watch the Bucks game, you saw that he was on that game. The guy's a national talent. He's really good. He deserves that. But I don't know. I got to think he's going to get a national gig full-time at some point soon here. He's that good. So that would be my least favorite thing, to lose him with Jim Pete, of course, off of the FanDuel network.
The counterpoint would be that Mike Breen has been the lead play-by-play guy on ESPN for 20 years, and he's done Knicks games for that duration, right? I mean, he'll miss some games here and there.
Perhaps he'll be replaced by Michael Grady eventually. But yes, I hope Grady stays. I'm just saying the team is playing so well that I'm like, I could nitpick something small right now, but I hope that Grady stays here long term.
I'm kind of in the same boat with my least favorite current Wolves thing. I could do like a Naz Reid thing, and like, I don't know, he's had some no-show games here, but I'll give you this one, more of a big picture one. Last night, 50 Cent was sitting courtside. I think he's promoting his vodka. I don't know. He had like a videographer with him, and Greg Oden was sitting like a section over from where I was sitting, who's been at some Wolves games.
How old does Greg look now?
You know, it's funny. He actually looks a little younger than he did 20 years ago.
He looked 47 when he was drafted.
He's got a great skincare routine, maybe.
Okay, good for Greg Oden.
I think he's friends with Conley from Ohio State. But my least favorite current Wolves thing is 50 Cent and Greg Oden have been to numerous more Timberwolves games over the last 2 years than Kevin Garnett. And can we just get the NBA Board of Governors to vote on this thing, move forward, and get Kevin Garnett back in the organization? And you're looking up last night at the rafters again, and I'm sitting there, and on the right side, you've got 4 Lynx championships and like 4 Lynx retired jerseys, and that's awesome. And then you look up in the Wolves portion of the rafters, and it's like tributes to a player and a coach who's passed away, and nothing else. So all due respect to 50 Cent and Greg Oden, it's great to have luminaries in the building at Target Center, right? Make it more festive. But the fact that Kevin Garnett hasn't just swung by once in a while, and part of it's on KG too. I know you hate Glenn Taylor, but the fans want to see you.
Well, and Glenn's not at games now.
No, he hasn't been there.
So it's not like you're gonna have to sit across from Glenn.
Yeah. So let's get the show on the road here. Let's make this happen.
I'm with you.
All right,
I mean, not a lot of least favorite things to complain about in terms of on the court stuff. It's just, I saw ESPN talk about this today too on their website, of just the path for the Wolves if they're in the play. I mean, it's become so much more difficult if you got to be in the play-in, even though you're been one of the hottest teams in the NBA. We did a State of the Wolves last week, and they won 4 games in a row, and they're still technically in the play-in situation. So I guess just the path, because if that is the case, then you got to be in the play-in. You don't know who you're preparing for or playing. Like, it's just preparation and planning becomes a lot more difficult. Even if you get to these 50-win mark, it's just a gauntlet in the West that it's going to be very difficult if you have to be in the play-in.
Yeah, I think, God, if they could win 9 or 10 games in their last 13, I think there's no way they'll be in the play-in. But now, we said that 2 weeks ago, and here they are, still in the play-in. So I'll give you a stat of the week for the road here. The last time the Timberwolves won 8 consecutive games was in 2004. It was in April. It was in terms of like the 8th game. They actually won 11 games in a row, including playoffs. But when they hit that 8th win in a row, it was a home game against the Jazz 21 years ago. Here was the Wolves lineup and rotation in that game. Kevin Garnett, 21 points, 17 rebounds, 4 blocks in that game against Utah.
Classic.
Sam Cassell, nice little 18-point performance. Latrell Sprewell dropped 24 points. Trenton Hassel doing Trenton Hassel things.
Hassel,
Socks. High socks.
Yep.
Yes.
Irv Johnson starting and playing 11 minutes, setting some screens, and then putting the heating pad, the ice on those knees.
The Wolves have acquired Irvin Johnson. Oh my God! Oh no, not that one.
Oh, that other one who wears 3 knee braces on both knees. And then off the bench, Michael Olowokandi Little 10.9 rebound game before walking over to Bellinote with 10 seconds left on the clock.
Being tased.
Yep. True
Remember
story.
that story?
Yep. Wally Zerbiak, Fred Hoiberg, Derek Martin, Mark Madsen all played at least 9 minutes. And then coming in for garbage time in the last minute were Oliver Miller, rest in peace, and Gary Trent Sr.
I think that was Derek Martin's second stint as a Wolf right there.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think he played 2 here. So the most important questions, how many 3-pointers did each team attempt?
Well, and I'll give you the Jazz lineup here too, which you'll find interesting. But both teams, the Jazz went 4 of 18 from downtown.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The Wolves were 4 of 11. Latrell
Okay, that's more
Sprewell,
like
3 of 7, and then Wally knocked down the other one.
More like it. Okay.
So the Jazz started Carlos Arroyo, Andrei Kirilenko, former Timberwolf, Tom Gugliotta
At the end.
in the twilight of his career,
Yep.
Jaron Collins, and Gordon Grichuk. And off the bench was Raja Bell, Michael Ruffin, Sasha Pavlovich, Greg Ostertag in the twilight of his career.
Kansas, yeah.
Mo Williams?
The Mo Williams?
Is that no. Is it the Wolves Mo Williams?
How's it spelled?
Yeah, it is.
Funny.
M.O. Yeah. It was his rookie season in Utah. Yep. And then eventually he went on to score 50 points in a Wolves uniform.
Against the Cavs.
And then a couple other guys got off the bench in garbage time.
So that was the Jazz team transitioning out of the Malone Stockton days, right?
Yes. And they were 42 and 40 that year. Jerry Sloan was still coaching them.
That guy could coach. He's good.
So they were still competitive, but yeah, that's you got to go back 20 plus years the last time the Wolves won 8 games in a row. So
yep.
We'll see if they can keep it going against. This is a tough one tonight. Kind of a tough, I'm not going to call it schedule loss, but
look at that, folks. The Vinster. It's like, Dad, what are you doing?
You can get in here. The door is wide enough for you
Just knock it open, Vinster.
But Dad.
He's wagging his tail.
He's like, I'm tired of all the sports.
Come on. There you go.
I'm tired of all the sports. Let's cuddle.
There's the smile. There's the teefs. There's the teefs.
He's got a couple hottest Wolves takes for this
I love
week.
that look. It's like, open the bleeping door for me.
It was like Jack Nicholson in The Shining or something.
Yeah.
Here's Vinny.
I'm going to clip it.
It was.
All right, there's your Flagrant Howls State of the Wolves Monday here. Click that like button and the subscribe button, and we'll see you next time. This is a Timberwolves Lifestyle podcast.